Hello everyone, welcome back to the Python and Pandas tutorial series. In this video, let us start with functions in Python, and we will cover the basics of creating functions, how to use parameters and return values, and applying some default and keyword arguments, understanding the function scope like global, local, and non-local, and some advanced concepts like lambda functions, recursions, and function decorators, etc. So, what is a function? A function is a block of reusable code that performs a specific task. So, we will be writing some block of code, means some set of statements, and making those into a block, and we will be naming that with a function name. So, what is the advantage means it reduces the code duplication and it makes the code more modular and increases the readability. So instead of writing the same code multiple times, we define a function and call it whenever we need. If you see the syntax of the function, we write a function using the keyword def. So start writing a function with def followed by the name of the function and parameters. Those are optional. You can write some parameters or you can skip those when your method or your function does not need any parameters. Followed by the function body. So that is the actual block of code. And function body may have return expression when you want to return something from your function. We will see this in detail when we write some examples for functions. So in this video, we will cover how we define a function in Python and how we call that function whenever we need that, and how to create functions with parameters, and how can we define functions with multiple parameters, how to define functions which return some values, and we learn about default parameter values, and we also discuss about keyword arguments, and next we will see the concept of scope like local scope, global, and non-local scopes, and at the end we will finish with lambda functions. So we will see all these concepts by writing some examples so that it will be easier to understand the concepts also. So let us open Visual Studio Code and create a new file and name that as functionsdemo.py, and in that we will see the first concept, how to define a function, right? So as we have seen in the syntax of creating a function, we will be using the keyword def followed by the name of the function. So I will be writing a function just to greet some or greet a user with some message. So def and the name of the message is greet, and as of now I'm not taking any parameters for that function, followed by colon, and the code block will have a single statement for now, which is a print statement, and in that I will write hello, maybe welcome to Python, right? So this is a simple function we define. So we use the keyword def, and greet is the name of the function followed by two round braces. These are actually used to provide some parameters, but in this case we are not using any parameters, and hence the list is empty. Even you are not passing any parameters, you need to make sure you are keeping empty parentheses. And the task given for this function is just to print the message hello welcome to Python. And now we will see how to call this function, right? So just defining a function is not useful unless we are going to use this somewhere. The basic idea of the function itself is whenever you have some code which is repeated multiple times, that to be kept under a single function name and call that whenever you want. So now we will call this. So calling a function is as simple as calling with the name of the function. So it is like the name of the function is this one followed by the list of parameters it has. So if you have no parameters, then just put empty parenthesis. That's all. This is the way how we call a function. So whenever a function is called, it actually goes to the function definition and it executes the code defined under that function. So if you run this code, you will see hello welcome to Python on console. Clear the console And Python, the name of the file is functionsdemo.py. See, you see, hello, welcome to Python. And if you have multiple lines of code in your function, all those will be executed. Maybe I will write few more statements, I again, and maybe some other line. See, we have 3 lines of code and I can call this function wherever I want so that all the code in the function will be executed. I will clear the console and run it. See, three lines are executed now. So this is how we call function. Now let us see how to define a function with parameters. Why we need to pass parameters to a function actually means if your function body needs some values from user to do some computations or operations inside the function body, those can be passed by user in the form of parameters. So functions can accept parameters. Those will be acting as input values for that function. So parameter allows functions to be dynamic and reusable for different inputs. Let us see how to create a function with parameter. If you observe the above function, means this one greet, we are simply printing these lines, and I'll just remove these 2 lines, and we are simply printing hello welcome Python. And now I will comment this and I will create another function using the keyword def greet, and this will be a parameter name and print, or we keep this and just name this as greet person so that it will be clear to understand the examples. So let us prepare a formatted string over here, hello, and followed by the name. And calling the function with parameter is similar to the above function, but we just need to pass the value for that parameter as well. So whenever you are calling greet person, you will be passing some value. Okay. So here Raja will be passed to name and it will be used inside the function. Got it. So let us clear the output and run this, and we see hello Raja is printed. If I write or if I call this again with another set of value, maybe Ramesh, and if you run this again, you see hello Raja and hello Ramesh, so that your function became dynamic based on the input I am providing. See, the greet function is kind of static function. Whoever passes or whoever calls that, they'll be seeing only hello welcome to Python. And now the greet person behaves in such a way based on the input value we provide, we will see the output hello and the name we actually provide. So this is how we pass a parameter to the function and we call a function with parameter. And now let us see how to pass multiple parameters. So you may need to pass multiple values to your function. In that case, instead of single value like name over here, we can pass multiple values with comma separated. Let us see some example defining another function. Maybe I will call this function as add numbers, and I will provide 2 parameters like a and b, and inside the function what I will do is I will print the sum of a and b. Right, so if you create a f string, now a plus b equal to a plus b, so we will show the output like this. And let us see calling the function with multiple parameters. So we just need to pass all the parameters while calling it also. So 10 comma 12. If you run this, you will see 10 plus 12 equal to 22 over here. Like this, you can pass any number of parameters based on your requirement. Got it? And now we will see another concept called returning value from a function. Till now, if you see any of the function we wrote like greet person and add numbers, we are doing some operations inside the function and we are coming out of the function body once the execution of the code is completed. But we are not bringing any value to the place from where the function is actually called. So for example, if we take add numbers, we have add numbers definition and we called add numbers in line number 18. So it will be passing the values to line number 15, and a b will be replaced with 10 12, and the line number 16 will be executed, and that's all. It just comes out of that function and control goes to the next line if we have something in 20 19 20 21 like that. So we are not bringing, or the function is not bringing some value to the place from where the function is called. But in some scenarios, I might need to send some value from that function to the place where it is being called. For that, we can use the concept of return. So my function should return some value so that I can use that value for some other computations or operations in my application. So let us see defining a function using the keyword def, and maybe I want to find square of a given number. So I will be taking one parameter, and instead of just printing, I will return a star a. Got it? So this is what happens. So we need to use the keyword return so that the square function will return some value based on the expression we have. Or we can do the calculations over here, maybe square equal to a star a, and then return sqr. You can do that as well. Got it? If you call this, you can see some value will be returned to the place where it is called. For that, you can take some variable, and in that we will be saving, or we will be assigning a value which is returned by the square function. So here I am calling the square function by passing a parameter value 5, and after executing the square function, it returns the computed value 5 star 5 25, and we will get 25 into result. Let us check that by printing a result. If we run this, you can see 25 in the end. This is how we return some value from the function. And let us see another concept called using default parameter values. So we have seen like using parameters over here, but whenever user is calling that function, what happens if user does not provide a value for that parameter? Like if we call greet without passing any parameter, let us see what happens. If you run this, see you got some error. It is missing with a required argument name, right? We did not provide any value for the parameter which is expected by the greet person. So I don't want to get this kind of errors. So if user passes some value, I will be taking that value. Otherwise, I just want to use some default value. For that, what I can do is whenever you are defining the function, see line number 9, we define greet person. Here you can simply assign some default value, maybe guest. Now if you run this code again, you will not see that error, and you will see hello guest is being printed. How this happened? Because of the default value we have provided for the parameter of greet person function. Right. So this is how we use default values for parameters. And let us see another concept called keyword arguments. Right. So what are keyword arguments? Let us take another example. So let us define another function. Define display pet info. This is some example function I will be writing. And this function will accept two parameters. One is name of the pet and type of the pet as well. Or to be more descriptive, we write as pet name, pet type. And I simply print the values that are passed to these parameters. So I will write a print, and we will frame a string I just bought, and in this I will write pet name of pet type. Okay, or just a hyphen. So let us see calling this. How we can call this usually means we can call simply by providing some name and type values. So what I can do is name, I can provide some name randomly buddy, and the type over here is dog. Okay, so if you run this now, you can see I just bought buddy and it is a dog. Now I want to reverse the actual values. I mean, I want to pass dog in the first place and buddy in the second place. What happens in that case? So it will be passed to the first value will be passed to the first parameter and second value will be passed to the second parameter, and it will think dog is the name of the pet and buddy is the type of the pet. Right, that is not correct. But I want to pass dog as the first value. How can we do that? Means we can achieve that using the keyword arguments. So whenever you are calling a function, you just need to specify the arguments by name. Alright, so you can achieve that by calling this again. Instead of this order, I will take and I will mention pet underscore type equal to dog and name equal to buddy. So I'll just comment this out or just keep that. See, now what I did is we are just using the name of the parameters while calling the function, so that whatever the order we used while defining the function, that doesn't matter because we are specifying the name of the parameter explicitly. So the value will be passed to the right parameter irrespective of the order we have while defining the function. And if you save this and run this, you can see the same output for these two lines. See, even if we passed dog as first value, we did not see any issue because we explicitly mentioned dog is the pet type. So that is how keyword arguments work. So it improves the readability and avoids some errors also while passing multiple arguments. Now let us see the concept of scope, and let us create a new file scope demo.py. Okay, we will write one more example in this because we have multiple examples in functions file already. So now we discussed like we have total three scopes. One is local scope and second is global scope and third one is non-local scope. What exactly scope is means scope actually determines the visibility and the accessibility of variables in a program. So we have some members in a program, maybe variables, and from where we can access those variables and from where those are visible. That is called the scope of the variable. We have three scopes in Python. Those are local, global, and non-local scopes. Let us see all these three scopes. Let us see about the local scope first. So when we call a variable is in local scope, all the variables that are declared inside the function are local variables. So we cannot access those from outside the function. For example, if we define a function, maybe showing some number, show number, and inside the function we will be declaring one number and the value is 10, and we print the value of number. Just I will print number. This number variable is accessible only inside the show number function. We cannot access that outside that function. Let us see that. If we try to print, because we came out of the method body or the method block, so we are now outside the method, and I will try to access this number over here, and if you see number is not defined, right? So we have to define a number first in order to use that. See, this number is defined inside the function, and whatever operation you do on that number, that is okay when you are inside that function. But when you come out of the function, it is not accessible, right? So this is the concept of local scope. But if you call the function, then that number will be printed. Python space scope demo.py. See, this is what actually we are seeing from earlier examples also. We can call the function and the variables inside the function will be used inside that function only, and we are seeing that output. But if we try to access that from line number 9, which is outside show number function, we got error. Similarly, we have another scope which is global scope. So simply saying variables declared outside of functions are global and can be accessed anywhere. For example, if you declare a variable over here, okay, maybe global number equal to 20, right? We don't need to place the word keyword global. I just use that to make that clear. That's all. So along with number, I will print a global number also. You can see like the global number is accessible here. And similarly, if you try to print this after this line, even in this line number 14, that is accessible because it is declared in the global level outside the function. Okay, so this is the global scope. If we run this, you can see 20 is printed once from the function body and once from the 14th line. Now let us see one more thing here called non-local. In Python we have non-local keyword and it is used within nested functions. So if we have a function inside another function, that is called nested function, and we will be using the keyword non-local for variables inside the nested functions so that we indicate that that variable refers to previously bound variable in the nearest enclosing but non-global scope. So that variable is not in the global but it is from the nearest or enclosing functions. So this allows modification of variables in outer function from within an inner function without making them global. We will see an example over here. Define some outer function, and in this we will take some variable called message, and in this we will write hello, and we have another function inside the outer function and name this as inner function without any parameters, and inside this we will tell the message as non-local, and we can reassign this variable in the inner function. So we are saying the message variable as non-local here. So the reference for this is the enclosing variable. And if we provide something, maybe message equal to, instead of hello Python, right? So I modified the message in inner function to hello Python. And let us print this, print, and inside inner function we have message, and we will see the message value over here, and come out of the inner function and be in the outer functions indentation and call the inner function here, and from outer function just print the message again. So now we are in from outer function and we print the message again, and after coming out of the outer function let us call the outer function here. Got it? And if you see by running this, you will see you are getting inside inner function and from outer function, and the value is modified in both places. So here the non-local variable message ensures that the message inside inner modifies the message variable from the outer also, but it is not going to create a new local variable in the inner function, and it is not going to make the message as global variable also. Why we exactly use non-local keyword in Python means the non-local keyword is allowing to modify an enclosing functions variable instead of creating a local variable again. This is about the scope in Python. Let us see about another concept called lambda functions now. So what is a lambda function? So we can say a lambda function is a small anonymous function that can have multiple arguments but make sure it has only one expression. Okay, so lambda function is some anonymous function with a single expression. It can take multiple arguments if required. And these functions are useful for short and simple operations, in fact. For example, if we want to calculate the square of a given number and we need to have a function for that, instead of creating a normal function, we will write a lambda using the keyword lambda, and the parameter to be passed is some number, maybe I, and it returns I star I. Okay, so we can save this lambda function inside some variable. Maybe we are calling that as square. So this is the lambda function and we are saving that in square variable. So from now, if we want to call this lambda function, we can use the name square and pass the parameter to the square itself. So if you see, by printing and inside print call square and pass some 4, you can see the value 16 on the output. How that is possible means because it has a lambda expression or lambda function, and we used and we defined that like this. And we discussed like lambda function can have more than one argument, right? Let us see by taking one more argument. So we have already seen a function to add two numbers. So I will create a variable add. In that I will write a lambda which accepts two numbers. So lambda given two numbers and those goes to this expression x plus y. So if you call this inside a print or anything, you can call that and you can save the value into a variable also. So 2 comma 8, sorry, add of 2 comma 8 because that is the lambda, right? If you call this, you can see the output is 10. So this is how we pass multiple parameters to lambda function. So this is about lambda functions, and let us recap the concepts we have discussed till now. So in this video, we have learned about how to define a function, how to call a function, and how to define a function with single parameter and multiple parameters. And we have seen how to define a function which is returning a value, and we have seen the default parameter values as well as we use the keyword arguments, and we have seen different scopes and lambda functions. So this is all about functions in Python. In the next video, let us start with the object-oriented programming concepts in Python. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe.